Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 489. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we've got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
This week on the show, we're going to be taking a look at Talk to Me, which is available now on VOD platforms. We're also going to be going over some we're watching on the watch list and new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for tuning in. New Saved by the 90s is being recorded this week, so stay tuned for the September episode of that. We're going to be talking about fantasy movies, including Jumanji, Hook. These are like family fantasy movies. Encino Man. Let me just tell you, rewatching Encino Man in 2023 is something else.
Oh, I bet.
Yep. And then Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is the fourth one, so stay tuned for that. Very excited to talk about those. I also watched the newer Jumanji movies, the ones that came out, the ones with The Rock that came out a few years ago.
I'm sorry, but did you say movies as in plural?
Yeah, they made two new ones. They
made two new ones.
Yeah, one came out in 2017 and then one came out in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll talk about those on that episode as well. With that, let's go ahead and get into our review. We're talking about Talk to Me, which had a really good theatrical run, and then now it's available on the premium VOD platforms. This is directed by Danny and Michael Philippou. I have a synopsis here. When a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. Kevin, we'll start with you. What were your initial impressions of Talk to Me?
I was slightly excited for this. I guess marginally excited, just because of all the good things that I've been hearing.
Yeah, this one got a lot of hype.
A lot of hype. But the weird thing too is I still was able to somehow not have any idea what the fuck this was about. I just knew the hand. I've seen the poster.
Yeah.
And I've seen the hand, but I didn't even know what the hand did or what it was. So this was kind of exciting going in, and it starts off really strong. I really like how it starts, and then it feels like it's trying to have a message, and it doesn't quite know what to do with its message or how to communicate that message, and it just gets messy. And worst of all, not only does it get messy and the logistics of everything just kind of falls apart, it becomes rather uneventful.
Yeah, unfortunately, I slightly agree with you. I agree with you about Actually, I agree with everything that you said. I don't think, for me, I still enjoyed this overall. I think that this is a movie that has a lot going for it. I do think that there were some missteps along the way, certainly, but the overall package, I think, was still quite good. I do think that the messaging is certainly muddled, especially the stuff with her mom and all of that. It just doesn't quite work. But I like the way that it ends. I feel like a lot of kind of mainstream movies wouldn't go for that kind of conclusion.
I did thoroughly enjoy the ending.
Yeah,
that won me back a little bit.
Yeah, but
it just felt like it strayed too far. It just got too lost in the weeds, so to speak.
It's funny, so when I first started watching this, my wife was in the room, and we had to I think we had to pause it because of the baby or something. And I watched the rest of it on my own. And the next day she asked me about how it ended, and where she walked away was, in my opinion, during one of the the craziest kind of most horrific scenes. It was when Riley first, I think his name was Riley, when he first, did the hand. And, I told her, I was like, surprisingly, where you left, that was kind of the big moment, and there might have been one or two other things here and there, but from that point on, I mean, it was pretty subtle, surprisingly so. I was expecting it to be way more intense, as it progressed, but actually it does kind of peak and then kind of goes back down. There was that other scene that happened in the hospital with Riley, but for the most part, I was kind of surprised at the fact that it seems like it's designed to be one of these like quote unquote prestige horror titles or whatever. No, elevated horror. That's right, elevated horror.
It
Seems to be designed to be one of those titles. I mean, this is A24 after all, and it feels very inspired by like Hereditary and in that regard. And maybe I was looking for a little bit more James Wan and a little less Ari Aster.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Is that like it peaks real early, right? Which again is for me, it had that promise, and I was like, okay, well here we go. We've peaked, and now we're into the territory of like shit is happening. Never mind that it didn't quite make sense as to why like things kicked off the way it did, which I'm fine with. I don't need it to make sense. But the fact that they followed it up with like the next 45 minutes of like, hey, we're going to try and make this make sense. Like there's a message here. And it's like, yeah, no, it doesn't. Let's just not do that. And let's just be, kind of like an entertaining horror movie. Because I don't need the muddled, and I don't even know if it's problematic or what in terms of like what it has to say about suicide, because I'm not 100% sure what it's trying to say.
But yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit confusing.
And confusing and worrisome enough that I'm like, I don't want to parse it. I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave it as is, because I have a feeling that if I do parse it out, that I'm going to be even more frustrated or concerned, if that makes sense. I will say that like the way that the ending did recover, some of the goodwill that it lost, but I don't know if it was enough. It's just, It was a letdown. It was a letdown.
I guess I was a little bit let down by it. I was extremely hyped for this. Like I was very excited, highly anticipated. So I guess my expectations might have been a little bit too high for it. However, there's still a lot to like for me on this one. Like I liked all the effects work. I thought that there were a lot of really kind of creepy moments. Looking at 2023's horror output, I think that this is still in the kind of upper echelon of like quality horror titles. I know that that's not saying a lot because there hasn't been like a ton of really great horror movies that have come out yet this year, but I think it's still solidly crafted. I liked the look of it. I like that the hand concept. I like the kind of mechanics of it, and I like the effects work. Like I liked the pretty much all the makeup effects and stuff that were at play here. Like that scene with Riley was very disturbing to me because it looked so real and it was just so brutal, and they did such a good job with the makeup effects and all of that. So props to them. I'm not sure if are you familiar with these directors at all? They're actually YouTubers. They come from YouTuber. They come from YouTuber. They come from YouTube. They have a very popular channel called Raka Raka, and they've made like lots of kind of short films on YouTube that are sort of like maybe like parodies of like typical YouTube vlog type videos, but they all have like kind of a horror slant to them. Like they end up having violent ends and stuff. Like their videos are quite good. And it's always impressive, like the effects work that they are able to do in these YouTube videos and stuff. So I was expecting good effects work in this movie, and I definitely wasn't disappointed in that regard. So sorry, go ahead.
A quick question, because I was slightly confused about this, or just maybe not confused, just maybe wondering about some choices. Like, I just found everything with the dad to be bizarre
So did
because he's not
I.
he's not a character. And then at the end, it's just like, yeah, we'll throw him in there for this, I guess.
It is really weird because he's not even present for almost the entire runtime, and then there's like a pivotal thing happens with him, and at that point you're like, all right, so you
So
know, why is this happening? Like,
yeah, it's just
what's
like
going on here?
they ran out of people to harm.
Yeah, and I mean,
It's
I
like, well,
guess
he's there. We can do stuff to him.
they didn't fill their shock quota. They needed to give us something else shocking to happen.
Yeah,
But
and I think just that coupled with some of the other things, just it felt all too familiar.
yeah, overall, I would say that I still enjoyed it. So let's give it a score. I'm at like a 6.5 on this one.
Okay, I'm at like a 5.
Straight down the middle for you. Got it.
Straight down the middle. Like it starts off really strong, and I like the idea and the mechanics of it, like you said, but it's like they didn't do anything with it. They just kind of rehash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I definitely see that. All right, that's Talk to Me again. That's available now on VOD. It's like the premium one. I think it's going to be on regular VOD early. I think it was like early October. I read something like that. Anyway, let's talk about some of what we've been watching. Kevin, I believe it is your turn this week.
Okay, I watched Salem's Lot from Toby Hooper.
Hell yeah, dude.
Salem's Lot, 184 minutes. Man, I gotta say, I was a little bit disappointed by this. Like, I still thoroughly enjoyed it. It's Toby Hooper. It's Stephen King. You got a great Stephen King vibe to it. It's well made, but there was just nothing that like kind of like took it over the top for me. But still, Stephen King adaptation, thoroughly enjoyable. Just on like a baseline entertainment level. What I'm looking for when I'm going into a Stephen King adaptation. I don't know. I felt like I was gonna get more. I'm not sure why, but I thought there was gonna be more. Especially with Toby Hooper. And just nothing jumped out at me from a filmmaking standpoint, like technical aspects or anything.
Yeah.
But like the great job of capturing like the location, the setting, the atmosphere, that kind of thing. That top notch. Great stuff. Great cast. Just slightly disappointing. And it just made me think about Stephen King adaptations in general. I think I can speak for you that we both enjoy them immensely. Even when they're not good, they still deliver.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see that documentary whenever it comes out.
It's just the only thing that I wonder if it's just like he kind of like fell out of favor or whatever, but it's something about like the older adaptations where it was always like a big name director. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just like a bunch of nobodies.
Did you know that there's a new Pet Cemetery that's coming out in like next month?
Wait, and
Yeah.
like another one
Yeah.
or
No, no, it's not it's like a sequel. It's not like a reboot or anything. It's like a whole new
okay, gotcha,
new chapter.
Oh boy,
Gonna be on it's gonna be on like Paramount Plus or one of those, I think.
oh it's not
Oh yeah,
Bloodlines.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
Cemetery Bloodlines.
I'm sure it's gonna be bad, but I'll watch it anyway. Cool. So that's Salem's Lot. I remember almost nothing about Salem's Lot. I remember watching it, but that's like basically it. I saw some kind of high profile stuff recently. I saw Barbie, from Greta Gerwig. I think a lot of people have seen this movie at this point, but it's out on VOD now. Unfortunately, this came out like right when I had my kids, so like I couldn't get to the theater. I couldn't experience the Barbenheimer, the duo,
You
like a
missed
lot
out.
of. I was a little disappointed in that, but I had a kid, so a little bit understandable. So I liked the Barbie movie. I didn't love it, but I thought it was fine. Like it was exactly kind of what I expected it to be, and nothing more. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. One thing that I will say is the production design on this is out of control. Like it is so good. Like this movie looks awesome, and that's really the highlight for me is just all of the sets, all of the crazy like vehicles and like backgrounds, like everything is practical, and like there's like scenes where they travel from like Barbie land to like the real world, and like they're on like jet skis and stuff, and it's all like kind of like construction paper type backgrounds and stuff, and it just looks so good. And like all of the like everything in Barbie land is so cool. The way that it's designed, it's understandable that they ran out of pink because of this movie, because it is quite intense and the sets are very big. It's a very big movie. It was pretty funny. There were a lot of really funny moments. I understand the how like the alpha male incel crowd might find it to be like problematic gender wise, but it was all like it was all true. Like there's nothing offensive about this movie. It's pretty wholesome. So I don't take any issue with it there, and I think it's ridiculous if anybody actually does, and just shows that people are insecure little babies. Funny at times. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling were great. I love the Ken character is so ridiculous, and then I think my favorite character was Alan, played by Michael Cera. Like Alan is really funny, and I like that it's a movie that is very self aware, and it's a movie that can like Mattel is okay making fun of the Barbie property. Like there were missteps over the years with Barbie, and they highlight those missteps in this movie, and I liked it overall. I like the messaging and everything, so I would give it a recommend. There are some like musical numbers and stuff here and there that I wasn't a huge fan of, and I didn't feel like all of the comedy hit for me, but overall still a pretty good time. So I give Barbie a recommend.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, my dad's in town. He wants to watch it, so I'm likely gonna see it for a second time, which I'm actually like not really looking forward to. So I don't know how a second watch is gonna be for me on this one.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that should be fun. I watched Mr. Klein from 1976. This is directed by Joseph Losey. This is on the Criterion Channel. This was a part of they had like I think it was Euro thrillers, like a block of Euro thriller type movies. So I had to check this out. Alan Delon in the titular role is Mr. Klein, and Mr. Klein, what he plays is he's a fucking kind of like a piece of shit. He's a successful art dealer in France, and this is during the Nazi occupation. So a lot of Jewish people are kind of having to flee, right? And they're forced to sell some of their artworks and stuff. So they go to Mr. Klein, and he kind of, takes advantage of the situation and kind of gets, kind of screws a lot of people over. And but it comes back to bite him in the ass, because what happens is there's a Jewish man by the name of Mr. Klein, same name. And he starts getting like that guy's like mail and stuff, like the Jewish newsletter, and like the authorities start going after him, trying to round him up, and he's trying to essentially prove his identity, that he's a full-blooded Frenchman. He's not Jewish in any way whatsoever, and he essentially becomes like obsessed, just absolutely obsessed with this man. Kind of becomes his own little detective, like trying to find this guy and tracking him all across France and everything. So much so that he finds him, and like his friend is like a lawyer. He's helping him out. He's like, "Oh, I got your paperwork that proves that you're not this man." But at that point, he's too far gone that he actually gets on the train to go to Auschwitz to find this guy because he's on the train too. So that's how obsessed he becomes. And just there's one sequence in the, I mean, the whole movie's great. It's just fantastic filmmaking.
Yeah.
But there's one sequence in particular where like all the cops and like some of the military like get together to like round up everyone like throughout the town, and there's like no dialogue. It's just incredible filming, choreography, the police cars, the music, the editing, like every single aspect of this like 8-minute stretch is just absolutely perfect. It's incredible.
Yeah, this looks awesome. I gotta add this to my list for sure. This looks like it's right up my alley. I like it.
It's good.
Cool. That's Mr. Klein from 1976. Check it out on the Criterion channel. I saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem.
Yes.
This is
tell me about it.
Directed by Jeff Rowe. Loved it. This movie
Yes.
is great for anyone who grew up with the Turtles, like we did. This is just a must see. There's so much it's nostalgia without like shoving the nostalgia in your face. It's like natural nostalgia in this. It's the animation is awesome. I mean, it looks incredible. It's got a unique. I'm sure the people are gonna compare it to the Spider-Man animated movies, Across the Spider-Verse. It's similar to that in that it's not your typical CG. It's designed to sort of look like it's all hand-drawn, like comic booky. And it's gorgeous. I mean, it's more, Jeff Rowe is the guy who did, I think he was involved with the Mitchells versus the Machines, I want to say. He wrote that. I don't know if he was like involved in anything. He was a co-director, yeah. So, yeah, if you saw the Mitchells versus the Machines, it's that kind of animation, which really suits the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like property. Suits it very well. This is funny. It's exciting. It's fun. There's a ton of mutants in it, which I like. They don't just go up against Shredder. Not every, but almost all of the TMNT movies, they're just going up against Shredder, and that's fine. Like, he's the big main villain, but this movie, they're going up against Baxter Stockman, and I like that. And I like the fact that they brought in a ton of the like kind of side characters from the franchise, and it was super fun. So highly recommend Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. It is quite good. This is out on VOD now, so you can check it out. I'm very excited that I think they're working on a sequel, and I'm very excited for that because this is definitely, it's tough, man, because Spider-Man came out this year too, and I'm sure that's going to be the one that wins all the awards. But it's a shame though, because I feel like this one is just as deserving. In fact, I would say that I might have liked this one even more. I think that I actually liked the narrative, the story of this one more than Across the Spider-Verse.
Now, my question would be: do the Turtles get a little bit of a bias? Because I would imagine you were like me, where Turtles were bigger for you than Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean there might be some bias in there, but really, one of the issues that I had with Across the Spider-Verse was that I felt like it almost felt like they were stretching the story. They were padding it to make it into 2 parts, where like really it was probably like 1.5 movies, but like they needed to just fill in some gaps. And the thing about Across the Spider-Verse that bugged me a little bit, where there were too many heart-to-hearts. It was like really great action scene, but then there'd be like a heart-to-heart, and then there'd be another great action scene, heart-to-heart, and it was a little bit annoying. That's not to say I didn't like the movie. I loved it, but that was just kind of a nitpick that I had. Whereas This movie is just really light fun the whole time, and amazing soundtrack too. You got an incredible like 90s hip hop soundtrack on this.
Okay,
They even play
nice.
ODB. They play ODB at one point. So it's yeah, it's awesome.
Good. I'm looking forward to this. I'm glad. I watched Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh hell yeah.
1982. Criterion Channel has a it's like high school horror
Oh man.
type thing. Yeah, check that out. They
That's-
got a bunch of stuff on there. Unfortunately, a lot of it I've already seen,
Yeah.
but there's a couple things in there that I haven't. This being one of them.
Looks like this is on Tubi as well.
Oh yeah, it's on Tubi, Arrow.
Crackle.
Crackle's still around?
I guess so.
No, it's not. Hold on. Sidetrack.
I remember before we talked about Tubi all the time, we talked about Crackle a lot. Yeah, Crackle's still around.
Still going. They got San Andreas.
But why does it crackle? Remember that? That was like the whole thing. Like, what makes this crackle?
Terrible. This is not Tubi level. I'm sorry. This is a Tubi knockoff.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt. They do have Unsolved Mysteries though. Robert Stack episodes.
Nice.
All right, back to Slumber Party Massacre. Early on in this movie, I love when this type of thing happens, right? There's two high school kids. There's a woman fixing like the telephone line, and of course the one guy like starts hitting on her and like helping her with her ladder, taking it to the van and everything. You know, he's being just a bit too much, hitting on her and everything. They start walking away. The killer snatches her, pulls her into the van. Right? The next shot is them like a decent distance away from the van, just walking, having their conversation. Van in the background, her kind of like panicking, hands up on the back windshield, like, you know, screaming for help. And just that shot, like the way in which that was filmed and just like the focal depth of it and everything, like everything about it, I was just like, oh shit, this is going to be special. Like this is going to be more than just like a knockoff slasher type film.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just love when something like that happens early, where it kind of gets you to sit up in your seat a little bit. Like, oh shit, this is going to be something more than what I was expecting. And I got to say, it lived up to that. Like this, to me, this felt more than just like a knockoff, you know, just, you know, slasher.
Your typical 80s slasher.
Yeah, exactly. And like you got some of it that had me a little bit worried, like the, you know, the point of view type stuff where you're like, oh shit, here we go. But I did love that Amy Jones was kind of like messing with that, where you got multiple different point of views.
Mm-hmm.
You had some misdirection. You had point of view from victims and the killer, and then we kind of dropped the POV thing, and you just see the killer like stalking around outside the properties and stuff. Just, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This turned out to be much better than what I was expecting in terms of like filmmaking.
Yeah, I think that this is a really great. This is a great movie. I think that its title maybe kind of makes it out to be something that it's not. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's kind of cheesy sounding. It sounds like it's going to be super campy, and you know, it is at points, but still, yeah, great series. Like, you know, bonus that it's a female horror director. I love women in horror, and the Slumber Party Massacre series, all of the movies are directed by women. All they call it the sequels. So, you know, I mean,
I think I'm gonna have to look into this. Well, the only thing that
the sequels are not they're not on the same level. Yeah. Just so you know.
Oh yeah, no, I can tell. I'm looking at the poster for number 2.
The guitar, it's the guitar drill. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
God's name.
It's ridiculous.
But I will say the only thing that was kind of bizarre about this one, like I understand what they were doing is like the neighbor, like her little sister was played by like an adult, but acting like overacting. like overcompensating as a little sister, and it was just weird. Just that whole character was bizarre.
One thing you should do is check out the remake. Well, it's not a remake. It's a new sequel that they made.
New sequel.
Yeah, they made a Slumber Party Massacre in 2021, and it's that one's interesting.
To check that out as well.
Yeah, that's on Shudder. They do some interesting things with that one. It's kind of refreshing, but the other part 2 and part 3 are kind of trash.
Oh yeah,
those are pretty much just standard 80s slasher movies. They're still fun, but cool. That's Slumber Party Massacre. That's a classic. That's an 80s horror classic. Moving on from that to something that's definitely not going to be regarded as a classic, and that's The Last Voyage of the Demeter. This is directed by Andre Overdahl. Now, there were a number of things that piqued my interest with this one. One, it is like a period piece that takes place on a ship, and it's a horror movie. So I like that. Like I'm a huge fan of any movie that takes place like isolated on a ship, especially if it's like a period piece. And then the director, this is the guy who did The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which I love. He did Troll Hunter, which I thought was fine. He did Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which I didn't love, but I thought was fine. So, at least 3 of his movies that I saw were pretty good. So, I had reasonable expectations for this one. I knew it was a vampire movie. I did not know that it was a Dracula movie. Like, I didn't know.
I was going to say, you're kind of beating around the bush there. I think the first thing for most people is, dude, it's Dracula on a boat.
I actually didn't know that it was adapted from Dracula. So after I found that out, I was like, okay, Dracula on a boat just killing people. I'm into it. Unfortunately, this is a very by the numbers. Like, it is not interesting. It's kind of rough, man. The script is just not there. The characters are not there. The one thing that I will say that it is quite good is like the special effects, like the creature design of Dracula. And he doesn't just like bite people on the neck. He like destroys people in this movie. Like, he decimates people. He rips them apart. He smashes their faces into like the side of the ship and like destroys their whole head. Like, he goes to town on these people. But the thing is, it's not that interesting. Like, how it's going to end from the beginning. Like, there's no question about how this is going to play out. You got Dracula on a ship, and these guys, they're no match for Dracula. Come on now.
Come on. It also just doesn't sound like Dracula, though. Like, I don't think he would be that messy. You lose a lot of blood that way. You know what I mean?
That's what I thought at first too. And also, like, some people get turned. So he ends up like turning some people.
Oh, now he's got to share blood?
Yeah, but well, yeah. I mean, it doesn't play out that way, but yeah, he does turn some people, and yeah, unfortunately, this just didn't really do it for me. Like, it looked okay. Obviously, everything takes place at night for the most part, and it's on a dark ship, so visibility in this movie is pretty low. Also, one little nitpick that bothered me was the lanterns in this were clearly like LED lights. Like, yeah, like they didn't use real lanterns because there was no flickering. It was just like a solid, like, yellow light, and that really bothered me. There was like one scene where they zoomed in on the lantern where they were like snuffing them out, and those were clearly real, but for the most part they were just like kind of LED looking things.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was interesting because I piggybacked this off of watching the One Piece live action series on Netflix, and with that show, they built all of those ships and built all of the sets in they were all done practically for the One Piece show, and they were just so crazy looking and elaborate. And then you go from that to like this, where it's like this just very generic looking, ship set that was not visually appealing, whatsoever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't really recommend The Last Voyage of the Demeter. It didn't really work for me.
That's a bummer.
Let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. We got It Lives Inside coming out. Pretty sure that's like the only, I think that might be the only like major release. I like that we're getting into spooky season. I'm excited for that. There's a lot of horror movies on the horizon that I'm excited for. VOD this week, on the 18th we have My Animal, and then on the 22nd we have Barber. We got Everybody Dies by the End. We got Dark Asset. Ooh. We got The Origin of Evil. What is that one? We got Neither Confirm Nor Deny. What is The Origin of Evil? When Stephanie reconnects with her estranged billionaire father, she struggles to find her place in a world of luxury, bitter jealousies, and dark family secrets.
Oh, no.
Stephanie also has her own secret to hide.
Oh, everybody has secrets.
This looks interesting.
Goodness.
On Netflix on the 19th, we have The Saint of Second Chances. We got, and then on the 22nd, we have Spy Kids Armageddon. Keep that Spy Kids thing going.
Still going strong.
Yeah, still going. Blu-ray this week. The Exorcist is coming out in 4K. I'm sure that's in anticipation of the new one coming out. What's your take on the new Exorcist? We didn't really talk about that. Have you seen the trailer for it? Do you know anything about it?
Nope. I didn't know that this was happening.
Yep. There's a new Exorcist, David Gordon Green's one.
Oh, give me what? Come on.
I hope it's good. I'm like, I'm hopeful. Let's see what else we have here. The Last Dragon from 1985 coming out in 4K. We've got The Lost City of Z from 2016 getting a 4K release. Cocaine Bear from earlier this year getting a 4K release. Fall, which is that one that I had mentioned last episode. I think it was last episode. I can't remember actually. The one where they get stuck on the giant radio tower. That's coming out. Yeah. That one's
4K?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That one's worth a look. Past Lives is coming out. I would give that a light recommend. Actually, no, just a straight up recommend for that one. Ringu is coming out in 4K. That's the Arrow release. They previously released all the Ring movies, I think, but now they're getting the 4K treatment. Little Mermaid's coming out in 4K. That's the live action one. Let's see what else we got here. Lost Souls from 2000. It's getting a Blu-ray release. Bad City. We've got the Dead Mother from 1993. Santo versus Infernal Men from 1961. Slaughterhouse is coming out. Dry Ground Burning. Padre Pio. That one looks so bad. That's the Shia LaBeouf one. Abel Ferrara. I'll usually check out Abel Ferrara movies just out of curiosity, but that one looks so bad to me. What about Criterions?
We have one, and that's Orson Welles' The Trial from 1962. Kafka.
Yeah.
Adaptation.
Heck yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Get that new 4K.
All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. If you could, consider reviewing us on iTunes. That'd be great. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.